Hey there, Shadow Penguin, and welcome back to the fourth episode of my Skyrim Special Edition playthrough. Now, due to various problems with exporting the file, I didn't actually show you the beginning where I went to Fort Dawnguard. Is that what it's called? You know, the Dawnguard castle. But my reaction to it would have been pretty darn amazing because it's a lovely castle. It's the best building in the game from the outside. It has proper turrets and ramparts. It looks like a proper castle, unlike literally everything else in Skyrim. It's an amazing piece of architecture, sure to hold the vampires at bay. So I've been sent out by Isran to go in here and see what the fuss is about at Dim Hollow Cavern or whatever. I've just taken out one of the vampires there. They're vampires, they're powerful, and they could give me Sanguinary Vampiris, so I do need to be very careful about being stealthy and taking them out. Of course, I am a stealth character, so if I'm not stealthy, then it won't bode well for me. I have the crossbow, but I only have a limited number of steel bolts, so I need to be quite economical. However, it's my best range weapon at the moment, so I will have to stick with it and just be a bit sort of economical with my... And from their dialogue, I could tell that the guy who I was supposed to go in with has died, unfortunately. Vigilant Tolan. He went in on his own, but unfortunately he didn't get very far. But I'm going to take a different approach. You can see him here, surrounded by vampires, as I just take that guy out there. The Death Hound, actually. But I'm going to take a more stealthy approach and see and hope that that is more successful. So, just as, so essentially, just as I was thinking about looting that person there, the vampire actually snuck up on me, which shows what happens when you don't take something quite seriously enough, or don't take a threat quite seriously enough. But because my sneak is quite high, hopefully this should be fine. As we now go up on, but even though we attack from the front, the level of darkness is such that we do actually still get a sneak attack off here. And the skeleton just comes out of the ground there, a brilliant addition for Dawnguard. So I think he's just about far enough for me to be able to take him out and no one else actually notice. But we're going to see. Going to move across. Going to get off the animation on him, and let's see if the vampire who's situated above actually notices. No, so this should be fine now. And there we go. Well, I'm not sure that counted. No, it didn't. So second. Wait, did we actually? No, we didn't get that vampire there. So now what's going to happen is I'll just turning up the brightness a little bit there. So now we need to get the vampire there. She's running towards us. So first we get the skeleton. Now we get the vampire who's stopped right in front of us. Not seeing us though. Despite being a vampire, they don't seem to be very well adjusted to the darkness, despite having probably spent a long time in darkness. Either that or I'm just that stealthy. And the NPCs are such in Skyrim and Skyrim Special Edition that if your sneak level is high enough, you can basically get away with anything. So taking out the Death Hound there, because the vampire, I would say, is the bigger threat than the Draugr, so I'm going to attempt to take out the vampire. And here we go. She's running towards us, but it won't make any difference. And now we move on to the next bit. Now there's a whole lot of skeletons here, so I'm going to have to be quick, because once I take down the first one, they're all going to start going towards me, even if they don't know exactly where I am. So that's the first one. That's skeleton number 2. Now I'm going to go for the... Oh no, I think that little bit got in the way there. So the vampire lady's running towards us. We're going towards that brazier there. It's not very good because of course light levels do affect your detection. So we are going to have to be a little bit careful, a little bit savvy about how we play this. And there we go, that's a vampire done. Now all we have is a skeleton left, and there we go. So we picked up this dwarven bow, which is good because we were actually running out of ammunition as we just take out this vampire here. See, really a normal human should be scared of vampires, but they have good reason to be scared of me. These vampire fledglings are obviously not the ones that carried out the attack on the Vigilance Hall, because those were experienced vampires, but a lot of these have sort of given signs that are actually more initiates. They've just been made vampires. So that's very, very interesting, and surely the more difficult enemies will come later. So these guys are clearly taking out the frostbite spiders. And I think that's what's just ahead here. You have a vampire a master vampire fighting a frostbite spider, and of course I'm probably more scared of the master vampire than the giant frostbite spider, even if it is a huge frostbite spider. So I'm going to attempt to take out the vampire first, and then I'm going to return the favour with the frostbite spider there, and now they're both taken care of. Goodbye, Shelob. So moving forward, just taking back our bolts, of course, I do only have a finite number of steel bolts here. So now heading down into the deeper part of the level, the architecture here is just amazing, and I think this is the sort of thing that makes me really love Dawnguard and make it my favourite part. So here we have two vampires. You have an older one who I think is the leader, and another one. They kill the guy who was sent in to find, essentially. So I'm going to use the bow here because the bow does slightly more damage than the crossbow. So, and these guys are going to take several hits to take out. So I'm going to use it first on that one. I'm going to wait till they walk away, hopefully just to give myself a... Oh, they didn't even realise that when I missed there. So I'm going to take out that vampire. I would have actually got the killing strike there, but unfortunately the stone masonry was sort of in my way. So I'm now actually going to hide here and just hope they don't find me desperately. This is really desperate work, because if they find me, I'm just completely doomed. But luckily, they both just about walked past.
I could feed again.
So this is going to be a bit of a lengthy process, because I'm going to, of course, have to take several arrows, quite possibly. But that increases my sneak up to 75. Now I'm going to use my crossbow on her again, and that takes her out. However, I think she's going to be revived.
I was hoping to feed.
So I need to I'm just going to wait. I think this way is going to actually... Oh, I missed that. That's a... You see, he now revives her, which is a shame. So I'm lining up that shot so I can do a bit of damage to him. However, he recovers health insanely quickly. So that's not going to be hugely helpful. So I'm going to hide back here because I think the Brazil was a bit of a tenuous place to hide last time. I'm not actually going to fire, because if I fire now, I won't actually have sufficient... Oh, he's stuck on there. Please, just get out. Yeah, good. So I'm actually going to take out his thrall, or the vampire who he just resurrected. If I went in there and tried to get him with the dagger, there's a chance I could have been successful. But equally, there's a chance that it would have just ended in complete failure. So... Still, I'd rather do things by degrees and make sure to isolate sort of Loki, or whatever his name is, Loki, whatever, the vampire guy, first, before I deal with everybody else. So, now he should be sort of making his way down the steps. And this vampire chap is taking a while to deal with, but if I went in there guns blazing, I would probably die, because I'm a stealth character. He's an incredibly powerful vampire, and I'm not a massively experienced vampire hunter. Even though I've done well against the other ones, he's a whole nother sort of kettle of fish entirely. So I'm just attempting to line up that shot, led it slightly there, so he's now going to run back up here, and I'm actually going to go down and sort of accidentally fall there, but this is actually quite good because this will allow me to go back round and sneak up on him from behind. And even at this point I'm still going to use sort of stealthy tactics and not go in with the dagger strike, simply because I don't think I've taken enough of his health off him to, you know, make that worthwhile. So just make sure he comes back around, just to reiterate how very careful I'm actually being around him. Simply because I just don't want this to end terribly. So he's down there. He's recovered, by the looks of it, most of his health that I've taken off, which is, I have to say, a massive shame, because it means the work of the past 5 minutes has almost been for nothing, it seems. But I'm going to go in once more with the crossbow. This time I'm actually just going to commit a little bit more. Running back here, I spotted this hiding spot. I think if you hide behind the urn, I don't think the NPC will detect me very easily. I think this sort of counts as being partly covered. So I hope this works. I mean, him and his thrall is going to come this way, but they don't actually notice me all that much. So he then starts to walk back across there, and I can start this process again. I think that was possibly his thrall. And there's the man himself there. So now he's basically seen me. I'm going to have to run back, and then hopefully this time he comes a bit further out there, which he does. Well, that skeleton does anyway. So I make the quick decision to take out the skeleton before he actually comes along. So so he doesn't actually notice that the skeleton's gone. They run right up here again. That is a very nerve-wracking moment, but they do actually
No, I heard something.
They do run off. So so low kill is his name, not Loki or Loki, low kill.
It's gone.
I then take him out there. Finally, the old vampire bites the dust, and then his thrall. So anyway, now I do this, and essentially what happens is you put your hand on here, and the spike comes up. Anyway, what happens will be for the next episode. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time with another video. Goodbye.